Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time of the day you're watching the video. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation and all your latest Rangers news. We've got a fair bit to get through in this video this morning. We've got news on Patrick Stewart boldly going where no Rangers CEO has gone before and coming out fighting against the SFA. Good on him. We've got news about what the CEO and the new chairman need to start to be doing as of the fact they took up their roles yesterday. They have in trays that look more like Mount Kilimanjaro than anything else. And we're going to reflect on what is upcoming for Rangers as well this week. A week without a midweek game, which is a positive, gives Clermont a week on the training ground to get into the players, to get them recovered and ready to go after that emotional roller coaster of a final on Sunday. Well, let's start with the new CEO, Patrick Stewart. Yes, that man has finally decided to boldly go where no man has gone before, no Rangers CEO has gone before, and that is to directly take on the SFA. Now, as a club, we have, I believe, honestly, sat back and been far too passive in our struggle against the SFA. We've kind of allowed the SFA to walk all over us like some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some sort of, non-aggressive spouse just willing to take whatever they get from the other one. We've kind of just let them get on with it, haven't we? We just kind of tried to maintain what is called that diplomatic silence and taken the moral high ground, and it's done us no good. And at times it does you no good. And unfortunately, at times you do have to resort to street fighter tactics and get down and dirty. And it seems that Patrick Stewart is more than willing to do that, which is very good news. As was reported yesterday by the Rangers Review and a number of other sources as well, Patrick Stewart has spoken to the Scottish FA to demand an answer as to why a penalty was not given and the referee was not referred to VAR on the Cheney incident. Not the only incident in the game. Obviously, a number of other incidents occurred in the game, including the trip on Diamonde in the lead up to Nicholas Kuhn's third Celtic goal. Again, another example of another big decision missed in an Old Firm game in favour of those in green and white. One may almost say it is a conspiracy on the level of Roswell. But the fact that Stewart is coming out fighting is very positive. The fact that he is willing to really state that he is not clearly happy with that decision, that he will stand up for the club, all starts him off in very positive light. Now, look, I mean, in terms of this decision, and I don't really want to, go on too much. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we spent a lot of time on this yesterday. Look, it is really interesting that, you listen to... You listen to Celtic fans and they're all coming out with the same old crap. Oh, you're crying over this decision. Oh, it's so sad, isn't it? Oh, you're just sad losers. You're sore losers. They don't understand the rules of the game. They just have no interest in the truth. They are, when it comes to the truth, they are absolute strangers to it, aren't they? They're absolute strangers to the truth. And yet another referee has come out now and stated that in his opinion that this was a blatant penalty. Who is this referee? Well, it is former referee Des Roach, who has been talking on Hotline Live. He believes that Alan Muir and Francis O'Connor broke with protocol by failing to tell the referee John Beaton to look at this flashpoint himself on the pitch side monitor. Protocol dictates that if the fourth official, the fifth and sixth officials, the VAR officials, see something that they think the referee has missed that is a clear and obvious error, which this was, it is their duty, they are duty bound to refer the referee to the screen, or at least to advise him as to what they have seen, to then make his own judgment, something that was not done. Now, according to the information we've had so far as regards this VAR review on the incident, the situation was that it was said that there was nothing for the referee to review, which is quite clearly wrong. And you've got to kind of ask the question, why do Alan Muir and Francis O'Connor think that this is nothing to review? That is a question that you need to put to them and ask them. I think it's gross incompetence. I think it's an absolute ridiculous decision, and I think both of them should be sacked from officiating ever again, even at a park level. Roach said, the laws of the game state that if you are pulling a player outside the penalty area and it continues inside the penalty area, it is a penalty kick. So that is clarifying that for Celtic fans and for those of us who don't believe that if the foul finishes inside the penalty area and the line is counted as inside the penalty area, it is a penalty kick. Going by the footage, we are seeing Liam Scales clearly has hold of Cherney, whose foot is on the line. The line is part of the penalty box, so therefore it should have been a penalty. You've got to go by fact, and the factual letter of the law is that it is a penalty kick. Going by the footage we are seeing, Liam Scales clearly has hold of Cherney, whose foot is on the line. The line is part of the penalty box, and that is a penalty kick, which Roach re-emphasised. I don't understand why VAR didn't pick this up, because that's what VAR is there for. It's there to pick up obvious errors. They have the benefit of hindsight and being able to slow down the camera. So I was very surprised that it wasn't given. I thought that on the pitch, John had a magnificent game like you guys. When I first saw it, I didn't think it was a penalty, but only when I see the stills, I thought, you know what, that one wasn't right. I don't think you need to draw any lines. What you need to do is get John across. Certainly if it was me, I'd have asked the referee to come across, look, I'm not sure about this, you might want to take a look at it. If John didn't want to take a look or take a review, then that's absolutely fine. That's his prerogative, but no problem at all. But I think it's your duty as the VAR official when you're looking at it with that technology, and there's a seed of doubt in there, and there was definitely a seed of doubt in there as soon as I saw it. So it's interesting, isn't it, that, that Des Roach, Bobby Madden, Dermot Gallagher, a number of top ex-referees are all stating that this should have been referred by VAR to the referee to review. Now, look, I will say that John Beaton had an average game. He didn't have a terrible game. He didn't have a great game. But, I'll admit that as a referee, it is very, very hard to referee a football game. When everything is going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, when everything is going, just along there, you find it is hard to keep your eye on absolutely everything that's going on, and you do miss stuff. That's why you need your linesman or your referee's assistants. That's why you need the VAR officials to help you out. And it's not because you're a bad referee. It's not because you become dependent on VAR, which I think some referees have. It is down to the fact that because the game goes so fast, you can miss things. And in this case, John Beaton clearly missed something. So yet again, another official stating that is the case. But it is refreshing to see that Patrick Stewart has come out fighting and has stated that he wants an explanation as to why a penalty kick was not given on this occasion. And I certainly applaud him for that. I genuinely applaud Patrick Stewart for this decision. It is a good decision to do this. And it's refreshing to see someone in the club actually standing up to the SFA, to holding the SFA to account. Because I think for too long now, the SFA have not been held to account. They have been basically allowed to get away with it and basically, I don't know, ensure that one side of the city gets more decisions than the other. Who knows? Anyway, so Patrick Stewart and Fraser Thornton officially took over their roles as chairman and chief executive officer of Rangers yesterday. It was their first day in the job. And as I've said, these two guys have a already bulging in-tray, an in-tray that Mount Kilimanjaro would be dwarfed by. There is a lot of work for them to do at the club. And I think obviously this is partly down to the mismanagement by the board, the fact that the board have allowed this situation to drift for so long without a captain at the helm, without the rudder actually being steered. The ship is kind of careering towards an iceberg, and these two guys 100% do need to turn the ship around and to sort the ship out. Now, Thornton and Stewart have a number of different tasks. I mean, obviously the biggest one that they have initially is obviously looking at the January transfer window. All four of these guys here, Thornton, Stewart, Coppen and Clement, need to come together with the January transfer window opening in just 15 days now, 14 days now, less than basically 2 weeks. They need to come together. They need to look at budgets. They need to look at player lists. contract offers, signing on fees, weekly wages, terms of agreements they can offer, so that when Niels Koppen or whoever goes to a player and his agent and offers him the opportunity to sign for Rangers, that he has a transfer fee there if needed to offer to the club, and B, he has a package there that he can offer the player as that initial negotiation point. So, the January transfer window, and I know it's the 16th, the 17th of December today, but you still need to plan forward for these windows. You still need to sit down as a group, as a core football group, which I think, Thornton, Stewart, Koppen and Clement will be, and make your plans and move the club forward on that aspect. I think, looking at it as it presently stands, Rangers have some good players. We have some good players, on that park. We've got Cheney, we've got Igaman, we've got Danilo, we've got Raskin, we've got Diamonde, we've got Barron, we've got Hefte, we've got Ridvan, we've got Suter, Butland. There are some good footballers. We need players to supplement those players. There are a number of positions I honestly believe need to be addressed. I think we need a centre forward. I think we need to get rid of, as soon as possible, Cyril Dessers, who is just an embarrassment. We need to ship him out. We need to look at shipping out Robin Proper, Rabbi Matondo, Kieran Dowell. And we need to look at bringing in a number of replacements. So centre forward for me is a must replace. Having that goal scorer who's going to come in. I don't think we can rest everything on the shoulders of Danilo and Igaman. Igaman's still a young lad learning the game. Yes, he is playing very well at the moment. But you often find with young players, they can have a run where they suddenly play very, very well. They score goals, they come into form, and then they may wobble a bit and the wheels may come off because they need a rest and it's all got a little bit too much and it's a bit over. You do see that with young players. The wheels come off a little bit, and that's the point where you sit them down, you talk to them, you rest them, and you bring them back at a later date, fitter, faster, and ready to go again. Danilo obviously has had his injury trouble, so that's a concern. And you can't rely on Cyril Dessers. You just cannot rely on Cyril Dessers. The guy is just an absolute joke. So for me, we need to go out and get a centre forward. That is an absolute priority. I also believe, that will not be Lawrence Shankland. I think there's obviously still a lot of talk around, is it going to be Shankland because the guy's out of contract at the end of the season? Do we get him on a pre-contract? I genuinely believe that Lawrence Shankland doesn't fit the model that we are working to. He doesn't fit that age profile that we're working to. He's not having the best of seasons. So I do believe that Shankland is well and truly off that list. But we do need to go and get someone. And I'm hoping that obviously that Niels Koppen has spread that net far and wide, and that he's looking at players all over Europe in different markets, the Scandinavian market, the Far East, so the Eastern European market. He's also looking around the world, the Far East, South American markets, to see what is out there and what is available in terms of strikers, and go far and wide, like we have with Hamza Igaman, for example. I also believe we need another central midfield player, another centre back. I think, as I said, as I spoke about on the video earlier, yesterday was the video late yesterday evening talking about this was the video that I put out last night about 4:30, I think it went out. Suter out for weeks. We spoke about the options to replace John Suter given his injury. Now the issue we've got is that if Suter is out, we have a 36-year-old Liam Balogun who realistically can't play 3 games a week. We have Robin Proper who really isn't that good. In terms of actual playing style on the pitch, he's a little better than Ben Davis. Yes, he's cheaper than Ben Davis, but he's nowhere near. I still think Ben Davis is a better player than him. So we do need a new centre back, and I think Sterling can fill in there certainly. King doesn't seem to be trusted by the manager for whatever reason, and Ciala, I don't think he's at all ready to play. So, you've got a situation there where I think we need a centre-back. Obviously, we've lost Casanwejo as well, who can play centre-back, right-back. So I do think there is a pressing need to go there and to find a centre-back. I think we need an extra central midfield player, not a 6 now. I think we've got enough 6s. I think Barron can play there. I think Raskin can play there. So I don't think a 6 is a priority. I think an 8 is a priority, someone to play alongside Raskin or Barron. I think is a priority to sort of spell Dio. We don't really have that in the team. Kieran Dowell's not the answer there. Bailey Rice is a 6. Carl McKinnon doesn't appear to be fancy. Paul Uncio, I don't think he's ready yet. So, that's another option we need. So there are players we need to put together and players we need to target. And these 4 guys have got to kind of be left to get on with. And I really hope that the present board, the Park family, who my feelings on the Park family and so on, leave these 4 guys to get on with their jobs, particularly the last 3, Stewart, Koppen and Clement. Let the football people do their work. As they say on TikTok, let them cook. Very much an American thing. Let them cook. Okay, let them get up to the speed and bring in players who will help us to really push and compete with Celtic for the rest of the season. Look, at the end of the day, there's also, the Thornton and Stewart need to look at and review the performances of Coppen and Stewart and Clement. I think, the review of Coppen's performance will come at the end of this season. How has he done in terms of recruitment? How has he done in terms of bringing in new players? Where are we at with contracts? That's something that does need to be sorted. That's something else I'll mention in a moment. And in terms of Philippe Clement, they could need to take a decision on Clement as soon as the 3rd of January. If Rangers were to lose at Ibrox to Celtic, I think once again the pressure would firmly come on to Clement. And the fact that the last time this happened, we didn't have a CEO, we didn't have a chairman, we effectively had no one to take the decision, kind of saved Clement to some degree. I honestly believe if we were to lose that game for 14 points behind them, then a decision would have to be taken, and I think it would be curtains for Clement. Or is it a decision that they go with, well, let's give him to the end of the season, let's look at what he does, and at the end of the season we review this. So again, there's got to be that positional review for Clement, positional review for Coppen. Stewart and Thornton need to be allowed to get on with that by the board and be their own people, not have constantly the board micromanaging and interfering. That is when things go wrong. That is when bad decisions take place. Now, Niels Coppen, in conjunction with Patrick Stewart, has to look at contract situations as well. You look at Rangers players under contract. You look at players who are out of contract this summer. You look at the contracts that are expiring in 2025. Then, you've got Václav Černý. A decision needs to be made about him. Is he affordable? Is he a player we want to keep hold of? That is a decision that needs to start being thought about now for the end of the season. Tom Lawrence is out of contract at the end of May. So again, a decision needs to be taken on Tom Lawrence. A decision needs to be taken on Alex Lowry, on Adam Devine, on Cole McKinnon, on Leon Balogun. All of these guys sit there on expiring contracts. Now, again, are we going to be left in a position where 5 players walk for nothing? And we have a situation where, again, in the summer, we lose a number of players for absolutely no transfer fee. Bad business, bad finance, bad investment, not good work from the club. So, there is decisions that need to be taken. Now, if it is that, say, for example, the club decide they are not going to renew the contract of Alex Lowry, Tom Lawrence, Adam Devine, and Cole McKinnon, then we need, and I think not renewing the contract of Cole McKinnon would be a huge mistake. I mean, to be honest with you, out of those 5, there's only Balogun and McKinnon whose contracts I would renew. A decision perhaps needs to be taken to sell those players in January so that we get at least a little bit of cash for them, even if we accept bids that are perhaps not fully reflective of the players' value, just to bring in some funds for players on expiring deals. So again, Stewart in correlation with Coppen has that decision to make. The other one obviously is looking at the financial gap between Celtic and Rangers as it currently stands. Rangers, obviously we made the loss of 17 million. We've got issues over our cash flow. Yeah, our turnover is decent. It is a very mixed picture on the whole financial front. So, in terms of Patrick Stewart and Fraser Thornton, they've got important decisions to make in terms of financing, sponsorship, kit deals, etc., TV, streaming deals, etc., to try and bring in as much money as possible to the club. It is a decision that needs to be looked at because we cannot afford to fall further behind Celtic. And at this moment in time, in terms of financial clout, Celtic have a lot more financial clout than Rangers, and that can't be a good thing. And that will lead to us perhaps not competing. So, there's a lot building up. Like I said, it's almost Kilimanjaro-esque in the in trays of these 2 fine gentlemen. It really genuinely is, and they do need to sort of start to take decisions over these issues. And Patrick Stewart and obviously, like I said, Fraser Thornton have a lot on their plate. They genuinely do. Like I said, priority has to be planning the January transfer window, then looking at contracts. And like I said, when it comes to January transfer window, we need to ensure that Clement and Coppen are fully back, that they're given the funds they need to go out there and get the players that they want. And that may mean selling some players. I mean, I've spoken about the players that I think should be sold. I don't think there should be any false start on them this time. I think, if someone comes in for Dessers, we don't let him decide his own future. We say to him, no, sorry, you are not part of our plans. You are not going to start on a regular basis. If you want to play regular first team football, there's the door. Go and find another club. Because the guy, needs to go now. He really does need to go. He has too many weaknesses for me. He can't hold the ball up. His link play is poor. His movement is poor. He's slow. He's offside all the time. And the team just looks so much more mobile, so much quicker, so much better when he isn't in it. The goals he scores are usually when it doesn't really matter. They're usually against some of the shit teams. He is, in fact, a flat track bully when it comes to goal scoring. So, look, I think there is that need to ship him on. And his wages are ridiculous for someone who, apparently is not really a starting striker. He's a third choice now behind Dinio and Hamza. You can't pay a third choice striker £27,000 a week. That's just bad business and it's ridiculous. So yeah, there are players there, who can be moved on for funds. I mean, in terms of what is upcoming this week, there is no midweek game, which will obviously give Philippe Clement the opportunity to work with his squad, to help them to recover, to get over the physical and mental draining experience of that game at the weekend. And then it is a pretty intense period over the December-January period, with Dundee at home on Saturday. I'm hoping to stream that game here on the channel. Thursday the 26th, Boxing Day, St Mirren away again, hopefully with the stream coming up for you there. Sunday the 29th, Motherwell away. Thursday the 2nd of January is the big one, Celtic at home, the day after New Year's Day. Hopefully 2025 will be the start of a new era at Rangers. And Sunday, January the 5th, we face Hibs away. So only 2 home games out of the next 5. Tough times, tough games, and we need to make sure we come away with 15 points from all of those 5. And we've also, of course, got the Manchester United Europa League tie and the Senior Saint-Gilloise League tie. I would absolutely love it, though, if we smashed Manchester United. Genuinely would. Right, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, on the way out, if you can sub, comment, share, like, all that great stuff, help to build the channel as we work towards our target, guys. We have a target. Our target is to get to 7,000 subs by New Year's Day. At time of recording, we are currently sitting on a grand total of 6,771 subscribers. So please, obviously, the other 229 that we need to get to our target in the next 14 days. Let's get there. Let's absolutely smash it and let's hit that target. Right, thanks for watching. As always, on the way out, remember, never forget, we are one Rangers family. We may fall out, but we will always be, and we always are. We are the people.